Welcome to Smithsonian Science How, everyone. We're so happy you're here joining us. We're connecting you to the real science and the experts here at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History. I'm Maggie Benson, and this is Emmanuel Chebefor.
Hello, everyone.
And today we are going to go on an amazing journey to learn about lichens.
Ooh, I'm liking me some lichens.
Me too. I am totally liking the lichens. And today, and look we have this really cute monkey here who's liking these lichens too. I bet in a moment our lichen expert is going to be able to tell us why. She's going to take us on an exploration to better understand what lichens are and how scientists study them. And you know, I have to admit that I really didn't know what a lichen was until we started working with our expert, Manuela Dal Forno.
You know, me neither. And I wonder if our students out there know what a lichen is too. So, students, if you look to the left, you'll see our very first poll question. Have you ever heard of lichens? Go ahead and let us know in the poll, and we'll be able to call it out. And also, if you have any questions, just go ahead and send them in the poll, and we'll try and get them answered during our broadcast today.
Yeah, even though we can't see you, we can see all of your messages and all of your poll responses. We see that we have a classroom from Alaska and Mississippi. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
So today we are in a lab in the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History right off of the National Herbarium.
Wow.
This is where the United States keeps all of its plant collections safe. And it's been around for over 150 years.
Wow, look at all of those lockers and closets. I wonder what's inside of them.
I think we're going to be able to see it in
I
a little bit.
hope so.
So without further ado, let's go and meet our lichen scientist, our lichenologist, Dr. Manuela Dal Forno. What do you think?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, here we are.
Hey guys.
Hey,
Hello.
Manuela.
Hello everybody out there. Welcome to our lab. And this is where I actually do most of my work. So, you know, I go out in different places, I collect lichens, and I come here and I get to see them under this microscope. So if you like that, you're gonna see some of that later on too. And I also write it down my ideas and results. So this is where I spend a lot of my time.
Awesome.
And we're going to explore all of those different kinds of things that you do for your research in a little bit today. But
We will.
first, let's check back in with our students. Have our students heard of lichens?
83% of our students have heard of lichens before, so we got some future lichenologists out there.
Yes.
That's a great number because actually most people don't know what lichens are. When I say I'm a lichenologist or I study lichens, people usually say, what? So, you know, it includes a little bit of a explanation about it. But the good things about lichen is that once you know what they look for, what they look like, you just go out there and you can see them everywhere. So, and this is what I go for, you know. I always try to look for fun shapes and I can have good pictures to show everybody.
It looks like lichens are even sending you love notes.
I know, maybe, right?
So you said we can find lichens anywhere we go out. So we're in Washington, D.C. currently, and we have viewers in Alaska and Mississippi. Are there lichens there too?
Absolutely. So Alaska, Mississippi, DC, everywhere. And lichens literally grow in any country in the world. So just go out there and you get to see a lot of these, for example. When you go on hikes, you know, you get to see some lichens growing on rocks. When you're around the city, you can see them on trees. And when you are, you know, in your backyard as well, check out after the program in the sidewalks, in archaeological sites, sometimes that you go on vacation, and even on cemetery. Those are pretty common sightings. And one of my favorite is this one right now, the car. I know, right?
Wow.
They really are everywhere.
I'm telling you.
Now, Manuela, I'm wondering how many more times we can say the word lichen without actually telling our viewers what it is.
Okay, so let's get it started. I have a lichen here, right? And can you try to describe with your own words how does it look like?
Well, it's kind of green, like a plant.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like a moss that might grow on the bottom of a tree, but it
Yeah.
doesn't look like it has leaves or very plant-like.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it has roots either.
Yes. That's all right. So no roots, flowers, and leaves. And what you know, it seems like we're looking at one thing, right? But it's actually two different things growing together to form this lichen body. So in one hand you have fungi, you know, think about mushrooms and mold, but there are thousands of different fungi and some of them make lichens. And on the other hand you have algae, you know, that stuff that grows on lakes and
Pond scum?
Yes, and like seaweed. Also there's many different types of algae, but when they come together to form this, it makes a lichen.
Wow. Do they all look like that, or do they come in different shapes and sizes?
They come in many different shapes and sizes, and we'll get to see a lot of their diversity today. So you get to see, you know, many different colors and different shapes and growing in many different places as well around Earth. So look at that one had the eyes on, and this one is on the tree.
Awesome. I heard a funny joke the other day. What did the fungi say to the algae?
I'm liking it.
Well, that is a funny way to remember this relationship, right? So you're gonna liken this, guys. Lichens are a fungal lifestyle.
Wait, what? A
Yeah.
lifestyle? Can you
Yes.
explain what that means?
Of course. So a long time ago, fungi partnered up with some algae, and now they depend entirely on that to survive.
Wow.
So it is really something that has been around for millions of years. And what you are seeing out there is this structure that they form together to form so many different shapes. And this, what we call the lichen body, the proper name is called a thallus.
Talus.
Now,
Okay.
for all of our students watching out there today, how can they recognize a talus in nature versus just some plant or some moss or even some fungus?
Yeah, how can we tell the difference?
How about if we learn what are the different things that they bring to one another?
I think
Awesome.
that's a great idea.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about our lichen lifestyle?
Yes, so lichens are a classical example of symbiosis. So you're seeing on TV now a clownfish and a sea anemone. You're also gonna see a bee and a flower, and our rock stars, the lichens, okay? So symbiosis literally means living together. And in science, we actually have a lot of different examples. And the unique thing about lichens is that where you're seeing the clownfish and the sea anemone, the bee and the flower, but when you saw the lichen, you saw one thing, all right? So right now we see a diagram to show you how a lichen is organized. And you can see that the algae is forming a layer, all right? And then you can see on the top of that and at the bottom of that, you're gonna have different layers with fungi.
So those green bubbles, that's the algae.
Correct.
That's one partner. And the brown on the top and the bottom of that, that's the fungus. That's
Exactly.
the other layer.
Exactly.
So tell us more about this fungus.
Okay, so you could see by the structure of it that this fungi is sort of sheltering the algae, right? So imagine if you were a free-living algae and you're out there on your own. Sometimes there's too much wind, it's very cold, a lot of sun. So if you're living inside of the lichen thallus, you're protected from that. So basically the fungus is providing the algae with this shelter, this very safe, stable environment.
Okay, sometimes I feel like a free living algae myself.
Yeah.
But if I were the fungus, I would want to know what's in it for me.
Yeah, really.
Right? So the algae then in return is basically feeding the fungus. So algae, just like plants, they make photosynthesis, and the products of that, the sugars, it shares with the fungus. So that baby won't be grumpy anymore.
So I'm looking, and we got a couple student questions here I'd like to get answered.
Let's go for it.
Tristan would like to know, how many different colors can lichens be?
Tristan, I have never counted how many colors, but I'm gonna tell you that pretty much any color you can think of, there will be a lichen to represent that.
So another question is a lichen the same thing as a fungus?
It is a very difficult to answer question, but I'll try to be straightforward. So fungus and lichens are not the same thing. So lichen is formed by a type of fungi, but not all fungi are lichens. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Karen in our chat would like to know about lichens as an air pollution deterrent.
Yes, you are thinking as a lichenologist already, and that is one of the most important uses of lichens. And biomonitoring using lichens mean that, well, the lichens, they are able to absorb everything that is in the air.
They don't have roots.
They don't have roots, they don't have a cuticle, so whatever is out there, they are able to absorb. And if we test these lichens, we can get different levels of air pollution, for example, and also whether they're present or not. There are some species that can be used as indicators for us.
Wow. So do you study all those types of lichens? Like,
Well, I wish,
lot.
right? It's a lot of lichens. There are 20,000 known species of lichens.
Whoa.
So we cannot tackle everything by ourselves, right? So I love all lichens and I study many different ones, but I'm focusing on the countries that in the map look or have the blue color. So United States and also many different countries in Latin America.
Wow. And do you get to travel all around the world to visit these countries?
Yes, those are the places that I've been.
Oh my goodness. So students out there, if you want to travel the world and be a lichenologist, pay attention.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So after you travel the world and collect these lichens, do you come back here to this lab?
Exactly, and that's where I spend most of my time. So it's wonderful to be in the field, but you're so curious to see what you got, right?
Right.
So you bring them here, and that's when you can use microscopes.
Like this one?
Yes, and how about if we take a look how lichens may look under this scopes right here.
All right, so
There
you've
we go.
prepared one.
Oh.
Yes, look at that.
Wow.
There's two different colors on just this one lichen.
Yes, isn't it cool?
It's really beautiful.
awesome.
Yeah, so this one is a very neat one. So that's what we do. We go out, we collect, we come here and work on all these different types of lichens.
So I have a question. Let's say you're out in the field and you find a new lichen, but I'm looking at the lichens on the table and they don't all look the same. How do you sort the lichens?
Good question, because this is exactly the type of work that I do. I try to study as many different lichens to find out how diverse are lichens. So let's get our students start with that by showing them the different main ways the lichens may look like. So starting with the first one, lichens can be crustals, okay? So
Crustos.
yes, so
Crustals.
let's see if we can see this one up close here.
So this is all the same lichen, this pink and this greenish
Yes,
white. It's
exactly.
beautiful.
So the red one is right here, is the border of the lichen, and the extra stuff that you see here is the bark, because when you collect crustose lichens, okay, it's like the ones that you see on your screen now, you know, they can be on rocks, they are gonna be on trees, but they're so tight to where they're growing on that you need to bring a piece with you back to the lab to study them. So crustals, crusty like.
Yeah, kind of crusty.
Yes. Our next type is the fruticose lichen.
Fruticose.
Yes. And we can describe them as what? Hairy or
This one has a lot of
branching.
different colors too.
Exactly. And they can be all tangled together. So here we can actually see a couple different species of lichens growing together. The
kinda
main
like
one
string.
being also stringy.
Yeah.
And then you see that they may also have very different appearances. Look at that one, it's mostly green. Then you also have some very showy yellowy ones.
But they all have that branch in common.
Exactly, and that is the fruticose type. Okay, and the third type, okay, is, I would say, probably the ones that you most see around is
I've
the
definitely seen that one.
exactly.
too.
So these are foliose lichens.
Foliose.
Yes, because they look sort of leafy, you know, but each one of these is not a leaf at all. They're called lobes, and when you see them, they are foliose lichens, and they're also very diverse and may have different colors. So we have an orange before, now we have this really beautiful green one, and even dark ones like this brown, olive, and black ones.
So can you give us an example to be able to work through ourselves, to be able to test our skills at identifying the three kinds?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready for a quiz?
I hope so.
Okay. So I selected a picture that I took in Costa Rica, and it has all different types of lichens. So it has crustals, fruticose, and foliose. I'm gonna start with you, Emmanuel.
Oh boy.
Can you spot which one is the leafy, the foliose one?
Okay, the foliose lichen, it kind of looks like on the bottom of the tree there was some foliose action going on.
Yes, you got it right.
Awesome.
Exactly. How about you, Maggie? I'm gonna give you the fruticose, the branchy one.
The branching one. So that's the one that's branching, looks like hair. There's
exactly.
definitely some hairy stuff happening at the top there, maybe off to the right.
Yes. You guys are awesome.
There it is.
I think we also have two more lichenologists here too. So this leaves the crustose one, the one that is very attached to the substrate, is more or less in the middle. So we
see.
actually see a one that is entirely white and one that is white with red stuff.
Cool.
Do you think our students are ready too?
I think we should definitely
Oh yeah.
give
Okay.
them an
All right, so
try.
we also have a picture with all three types of lichens that is on your screen. How about if you talk to your colleagues, your lab mates, wherever you're with, your teacher, and you have about 30 seconds to discuss which lichen is what. Is it foliose, crustose, or fruticose?
And once you figure out your answers, go ahead and send them in the questions tab to us.
While our students are thinking about that, Manuela, as a lichenologist, do you feel like you hit the jackpot when you find all three types?
Yes, I sure do, and that's why I take beautiful pictures so I can pass on the information and people can actually see how different they may look when they're all together.
Oh, I see. Wow. So are those lichens growing on?
They're all growing on the fan. So this
Okay.
was during one of our trips to Brazil while traveling. And you know, when you take a break, then there were the lichens. They are literally everywhere.
Awesome.
So I think our students are still voting on this. So we'll give them another second. We'll keep that poll open. But Manuela, can you give us a hint? What are we looking at here on this?
Okay, so you are most likely trying to figure out which one is which. And usually I feel like the fruticose is the easiest one to spot. So they might look branchy, you know, and I think we are actually getting some of the answers right. So the left one is the branchy one, the fruticose type. And in the middle, you see the crustose, and towards the right, you are seeing the leafy and foliose ones. So they did pretty well, huh?
I think we got some future lichenologists out there that you might have to hire.
I know, I hope so, right?
Yeah, we were taking a look at those responses coming in, and everybody did really well on that one.
I'm excited to hear it.
All right, well, Manuela, you have gone to the field, you come back, you look at lichens under the microscope, you sort them as our student lichenologist just did. What's next?
Yes, so what's next? Well, we are trying to put names on this, many different lichens. So our next step is actually to take a tiny piece of lichens and put them in tubes like this you're gonna see in the video. So we had students working with us, and they're showing you right now the process of DNA extraction. So DNA is short for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it's the molecule that contains the genetic code of all organisms. And in lichens, imagine that you're gonna have DNA from both the fungus and the algae going on, right?
Yeah.
And both of these have DNA inherited from their parents, and by comparing this different genetic information that you're getting, it will help you to find out how diverse our planet is, because you can compare these to one another.
Wow, that's powerful stuff.
So
I know.
looking at that video, it kind of looked like you already hired some student lab workers. Is that the
Yes,
case?
that is true. So last summer we worked with 2 high school students, Archana and Daniela, and they work in many different activities, as we saw today, related to lichen research. But I feel that one of their favorites was being out there in the LAB, as we call it, the Laboratory of Analytical Biology.
You know, they shared some of their insights after working with lichens.
For me,
Let's take a
I
look.
did not know what a lichen was. At first, I thought it was like an animal or something. But when I saw the background of it, I was like, I think I have an idea of what it is.
Well, I think I knew that they were the little things that grow on trees that you see, but I guess I thought that they were just plants. I never really realized how complex they were, how it was 2 different organisms living together.
I've grown to love lichens because I see them everywhere now. Now that I know what a lichen is, they're like, I can see them on trees, on rocks. It's amazing.
I think just seeing things from a distance, you never really get to truly appreciate it. And after working with them for 6 whole weeks over the summer, spending 5 days a week like right there with the lichens really allowed me to like grow to appreciate them. And yeah, I do like lichens.
I wonder how many more times we can like lichens in this show.
So Daniela and Archana actually had some questions for you, and let's take a look.
I was wondering, was there anything in particular that happened during your childhood that made you take this path of becoming a biologist?
Great question. So I feel that I had a lot of contact with nature while growing up because of my grandparents and my parents. We used to go out to the country a lot, but I think especially when I was a high school student, I had a little forest behind my school, and I would just go walk around, and one day I saw really beautiful fungus and I just started visiting and calling my friend fungi until one day it wasn't there anymore, and that was really impactful. And I'm like, oh, something needs to be done about that, because it seemed like someone had removed it. So I think I made a decision. I was in between 2 different things, and I decided that I wanted to follow the biology path.
Manuela, that was a really wonderful introduction to how you got into biology.
Thank you, Randy.
I'm sure you're inspiring all the students watching at home today to look at biology more seriously.
I hope so.
So you've taken us on an incredible lichen journey and taught us so much about the lichen lifestyle. Is there any way we could take a journey out into the herbarium?
Yes, so the herbarium is actually right outside here. Why don't you follow me and we can take a look?
Awesome, let's go.
Yes, so we made it.
This is amazing.
Wow.
Students, check this out. There is row upon row of cabinets. And I mean, they even stretch all the way down here and all the way down there.
Yeah, there's like an echo.
Yes, welcome everyone. This is the
What's inside?
National Herbarium. So all of these cabinets that you see, they're filled like this. Let's take a look how all of these samples are organized. So when you take out each one of these folders, what you are going to see is a plant, okay, that has been dried and pressed, and then this is how they're gonna look like, okay?
Wow.
And guess how many samples we have in the National Herbarium of plants? Let's start with plants.
Well, I know it's been around for 150 years, so there has to be a lot.
150,000?
That
A
is
million?
Yes, we're getting closer. So the National Herbarium has over 5 million plants or samples in general, because 1/4 are lichens.
Wow. And I guess you have to store them all in stacks, all dried out, to be able to fit them all in one collection.
Exactly,
5 million.
yes. And lichens, and you saw, the plant is directly on the sheet, while lichens are usually kept in these envelopes, so it can be in boxes like these, or some herbarium also press them here.
So what's in there?
Okay, this is my favorite lichen. It has to be really special, right, for it to be.
You love all lichens, so this has to be really special.
It is, right? And I'll tell you why in a second. Or you can probably see it, right?
It's beautiful. It looks like artwork.
It does. It sure does look like artwork.
What is it?
So this is a new species of the group that I'm working on, Dictionema, its name, and it just represents so much because, well, among the so many important things that an herbarium is, it also is a snapshot for the past if you think about it, because this lichen right here was collected in 1975 in Panama by the lichenologist that was here, Mason Hale. So I really get to see what he saw back then in Panama, and it looks so beautiful, right? So it is just how looking into the past, and if kept in well-maintained environments like this herbarium, it will last hundreds of years.
So cool. If I'm a student at home and I am liking the lichens, how can I get involved?
Yes, so Emmanuel, there are a lot of lichens. So there are 20,000 known lichens, right? There's just not enough lichenologists out there. So there's so much work to still be done. As we were, for example, working in the Galapagos Islands, we found so many new species there. And also we found out that what used to be considered one species, Cora, is actually 100 different ones.
Oh my God.
So
there's a lot of opportunities for student lichenologists to make new discoveries.
Yes,
So
you can
beautiful.
make significant impactful discoveries studying lichens.
Maybe they'll be your interns one of these days.
Yes, I'll be waiting for them.
Awesome. Well, some of our students have a couple more questions that we can fit in. Somebody would like to know, are lichens kind of like coral reef on land?
That is an interesting idea. I guess you could, well, as long as you know that corals are animals and lichens are not, I think it's a pretty good comparison, or even sponges.
Have you ever been surprised by the results of a DNA test when testing lichens?
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes, anything can happen. So sometimes you think it's one thing and it's not, and sometimes you're just confirming what you thought it was just based on your observations. So either way, you feel pretty good about that.
Do any microscopic organisms live inside lichens?
Yes, you are thinking as a lichenologist. So many different organisms can live inside a lichen or on top of the lichen. So there's a lot of research going on with that, actually.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering those student questions for us.
Yeah, thank you, Manuela, for this amazing lichen journey, as you said, Emmanuel. This has been so lovely. And thank you, students, for tuning in today and sending all of your awesome questions. We hope you enjoyed the program.